On this week's episode, can a revisiting of Queen ignite the movie screen? What anime series do people really need to get into? And do we really need? Oh, and do we need? Oh, actually, yeah, I keep saying need. And is the world really? I keep saying really too. Really and need together.
Gotta get those words right, man. It's all about
Well,
that.
no, really in need. I was putting out. I did that on last sentence. So I'm trying to figure out what I need to do for Gladiator 2.
It's all about that syntax, man.
There you go. Exactly. I'm not a journalism major anymore. I feel like I failed. Anyways,
Oh, speaking of which, Lynette reached out to me last night when she saw the new site and she wants to write some more, but I didn't know what to ask her to write. So,
tell her to keep it. Well, we'll discuss that off the screen.
all right, whenever you're ready.
Yes. And is the world ready for a Gladiator 2? And is the world ready for a Gladiator 2? All this and more as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with another episode of the PCC Multiverse. This is Gerald Glasser from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our great shows. But it wouldn't be a PCC Multiverse without the man, the myth, the legend. Once again, he is the man, the myth, the legend from Humanica Media. You got to check out everything that's going on with Humanica Media today at humanicamedia.com, Humanica Media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and so much more. It is my good friend. And, well, he's got a big surprise for everyone out there as far as on the internet front. It is Josh Peterson. You worked so hard on it, my friend. I'm going to give you all the props in the world. So go ahead, lay it on the world out there. Lay it out on the world out there. What is going on with everything on Pop Culture Cosmos and Humanica Media?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Gerald. So, I've been working on the site since March, so long time now. An official www.popculturecosmos.com. Do you hear that? Like, it's got a nice ring to it, right?
We still have the WordPress site going, but from now on, we have a popculturecosmos.com and a popculturecosmos.wordpress.com. We'll always shoot stuff there, but the popculturecosmos.com site is going to be our main site for everything Pop Culture Cosmos. Is that correct?
It is officially official. So the WordPress page is what it is, but this will be our baby, our brand new content machine. So everything that we make will be exclusive to this first. And you sorry, you'll be able to catch us our links for streaming, links for podcasts, links for all the latest articles we're working on, and all of our affiliate content. You'll just be able to go to www.popculturecosmos.com and it will all be there in one place, one hub of pop culture goodness.
Absolutely. All the great reviews that we've posted over the years, including my latest review of the outstanding One More earbuds. Got to check that out. That's now on popculturecosmos.com. Got to check that out. I cannot say enough about those earbuds that I got from One More to test out. I had a great time in doing so. They are under $100. In fact, oftentimes they're on sale right under $50, so they're a great buy. I want to highly recommend them. Check out my review on them in detail. It's the One More IB-free sport Bluetooth headphones. You're really into wireless headphones for your workout or just going ahead and listening to your mobile phone and whatnot, and you like that wireless feeling, go ahead and check the One More IB-free sport Bluetooth headphones out. And of course, you can get my detailed review of it on popculturecosmos.com. My friend, it's another great episode we've got for you. In fact, another great episode for everyone out there when it comes to everything in pop culture. We're going to be talking a lot about today, a lot of great stuff, along with our great guests we've got lined up for you today. We've got Tyler Baker from the Fantasy Football Pater podcast. He's going to recap a lot of the action from last Tuesday's NFL trading deadline. and some of the moves that affect you out, and some of the moves that affect you fantasy football owners out there. So stay tuned to what he has to say with some of the moves that went on, plus some matchups that are of interest to fantasy football owners coming up in week 9 of the NFL. Also, we've got Jessica Boggs from the TV Ratings Guide. That's theTVRatingsGuide.com. She's stopping by with a November update to get you up to speed on what's going on with a lot of the TV shows and the TV networks out there. She's stopping by to talk about that. And then Josh and I later on in the program are going to talk about anime and some of the things that we like about the best of anime out there, some of the shows that you might need to catch out there, and things that you might need to see and appreciate more when it comes to the anime genre. But first, my friend, we've got a lot of things to talk about when it comes to this weekend at the movies, because not only is the Nutcracker and the Four Realms, that's coming out. That's another big Disney presentation that's coming out, but also Bohemian Rhapsody. That comes out this weekend, 2 theaters, starring Rami Malek playing the role of Freddie Mercury. It's going to, in best you can, I guess, within a 2-hour time frame, try to do a retelling of the story behind Queen's rise to fame and all that. Reviews for it are mixed, although a lot of the good reviews and positive reviews out there are for Rami Malek's performance as Freddie Mercury. Your thoughts on Bohemian Rhapsody, first off? Do you think this is a movie that's going to score with audiences? It's right now projected to do right around $40 million domestically here at the box office. Do you think it's something that will last and will get some appreciation from moviegoers out there? Because music biopics are, on a lot of occasions, are really hard to get, I guess, a lot of weight behind it when it comes to seeing it on the big screen.
Sorry. Yeah. Oh, so who's the actor that plays that? His name is
Rami Malek.
Rami Malek. Yeah. So he has a lot of power behind him right now after his performances in Mr. Robot. And also, like, I'm noticing there's a unique camp of people who are kind of getting back into that 70s rock. And Queen is kind of at the top of their list, Freddie Mercury. And then you also have the people who are really pushing the the whole social agenda idea, where they want to get more people have participated in like the LGBTQT stuff into the spotlight, and this is kind of a good opportunity for them. So I think that this movie has a lot of different things working in its favor. I don't see it doing like gangbusters at the box office, but I still see it doing pretty well. And I mean, if not, if it doesn't like get over 100 to 200 million dollars box office revenue, I still see it being considered for an Academy Award. I personally do want to watch it, and that's unique for me because I don't really care about music biopics or biographies that much. So I don't know. I mean, how are you feeling about it, man? Like, I've heard mixed reviews about it. I've heard people say they want to see it. Some people say they don't. And I know there's an Elton John movie coming out. How do you feel about this kind of thing, though?
Well, music biopics, for the most part, are something that are usually praised very heavily by the critics, but don't get a substantial following when they hit the big screen. They seem to find life over the years when it hits the DVD and Blu-ray market to get their full appreciation. I mean, some of the best biopics ever made for the big screen are ones that, well, quite frankly, didn't do so well on their initial airing at the box office. As far as Bohemian Rhapsody, I'm an admirer of the Queen music. As someone who is a little bit older, I was there for some of their big hits in the 80s. Don't remember much of the 70s, but the 80s, I do remember some of the music that they were really getting into and really create. Obviously, there are songs that they've created which have just continued to become even more famous year after year after year. I mean, obviously the namesake says it all for there, but We Will Rock You. I mean, what sporting event doesn't have We Will Rock You when it comes down there? The Mighty Duck films, I know you mentioned that as beforehand in regards to being something that plays a lot of the Queen music as well. So I will say this. Queen has always a place within the history of rock and roll, and I'm curious to see it. I'm sorry that I'm kind of sad that it's getting such mixed reviews, but at least his performance, Remy Malek, I'm interested to see how well it will do as far as how he actually embraces the role of Freddie Mercury. Two things I have an issue with. I think Sacha Baron Cohen, upon my initial first glance, I thought it could have been a better, more outrageous version of Freddie Mercury, which I think the role really, would have gotten the best out of. And number two, it's a PG-13 movie, obviously to try to appeal to a larger audience. Do you see that as an issue as far as holding it back from really all the content that it should have put on when it comes to Queen and all the somewhat controversial aspects of Freddie Mercury's character, Freddie Mercury's life, both on the stage and off, and also Queen as a whole? I would have equated it more to an R-rated picture. I think you probably could have gotten a better performance and a better movie out of it by going ahead and going all out on an R-rated film.
Well, look at it this way too. You see, like J.K. Rowling kind of holding back. And you could tell she's holding back the story, the version of the story that she wants to tell of Dumbledore and shoot, I'm having a brain fire. What's his name? Dumbledore and Johnny Depp's character. Shoot, who am I talking about? Who is Johnny Depp playing Fantastic Beasts? It's my brain's not working tonight, man. I'm sorry.
Not Grindelwald.
Grindelwald, yeah, Grindelwald. So she's holding back the version of the story that she wants to play with Johnny Depp or Dumbledore and Grindelwald. But here's the thing, though, like they want audience. She doesn't want to divide audiences, and I totally understand that too. And the same thing with like you have these kids who are growing up now listening to bands like Greta Van Fleet, Temperance Movement, Blackstone Cherry, who these are all bands that are trying to bring back like the style, the 70s style rock. And you have kids who want to go, they're gonna want to go see this movie. And it's the same thing like with the Doors movie back with what's his name? Val Kilmer.
Yep.
That back then, like that pushed the line quite a bit and didn't end it, the Oliver Stone movie, and it didn't end up doing quite as well as everyone hoped it would. So I feel like with this Queen movie, they're trying to walk the line very carefully. They don't want to dive into the whole a lot of the stuff that Freddie Mercury was alleged or known to have done. They would like to have people who audiences of all views and whatever viewpoints and standings go to see this movie, because it seems like with something like this it already doesn't it already doesn't hit a big audience, so they want to make sure they're able to cater to everybody who might want to go see this movie. And I get how that is artistically stifling, but I also get why they're doing it.
Like I said, I think a better movie would even. I haven't seen it yet. I'm just saying, on the surface, you would probably get the more realistic version of what Queen was all about if you had gone an R-rated movie, but they didn't. So I would still like to see. There's an interest there for me as far as watching Bohemian Rhapsody and seeing if it's the performance that I would like to see out of a retelling of the Queen story, because there is so much to tell, because they were one of the most theatrical, one of the most advanced, one of the most forward-thinking groups of that era, and are certainly deserving of a biopic made in their honor. One last thing when we talk about this weekend in the box office, and that is Disney's Nutcracker and the Four Realms. It's projected to do only around the 20 million mark at the box office in its initial run. Kind of funny that the earmarks are so low right now for a Disney movie. Your thoughts on Nutcracker and the Four Realms, and why it's projected to not be so hot, especially coming off a great year for Disney, even though Christopher Robin didn't hit on exactly every note as well.
Well, they're hitting a lot of these Christopher Robin's obviously a well-known property, but
And a Wrinkle in Time. Both of them did right around the $100 million mark domestically. Didn't do much overseas. So, the Nutcracker and the Four Realms seem to fall in line with more of that than any of their other successes they've had this year.
well, with Wrinkle in Time, they shot themselves in the foot by putting it out in the wake of Black Panther. And who's to say maybe they didn't know that Black Panther was going to do as well as it did. But that was another film where they were hoping the diversity factor would pay off. And maybe it would have had it been released in like November or December, you know. But you know, with the Nutcracker, I feel like it's not really a well-known property. Disney, this is like a stretch to me. It feels like a stretch. Disney's trying to put out a Christmas movie, something holiday themed, and it's just not. You know, this is something that like my grandma would take me to go see, like as a legitimate musical. But if it was a movie, I don't see her having any interest in seeing that. And that's something that like kids would go see with their grandparents. You know, kids would go see with their parents. If you're on Thanksgiving, you know, the day after Thanksgiving, people usually go to see movies. This is just something that they're. It seems like they're trying to cater to it, but they don't really have an audience in mind. You know, it's not. You watch the trailers, it looks a little too dark to be catered to kids. Um, a little too fantastic, I guess, to be catered to adults. I don't think they know what audience they're going for. They're just kind of throwing it out there, no marketing strategy in mind, and just kind of hoping it catches. And I can see it catching, you know, when it hits Blu-ray, DVD, or whatever, but I don't see it doing too well in terms of box office numbers. I think that this might be another one that Disney might have to, you know, write off as a loss.
I agree with you on that. It seems like it's a very disappointing outlook for this movie because, like you said, they did not go ahead and spend enough time marketing the film properly. We don't know really who, as far as what's going on, too much. The trailers themselves have not really been that specific. Now it's been a little bit all over the place. We're focusing on the young lady, I guess, who's going to be the star of the film, but it just nothing really captures you. It's just okay if you know the story behind the Nutcracker and the Four Realms. You know what? That's why you should go see it, and that's the problem. In a modern 2018 age, a lot of individuals out there, their families, the kids, they need to be reminded, or actually, for the first time, understand what it's like for Nutcracker and the Four Realms, and understand why that story is so special. And Disney didn't do a very good job of translating that magic that the Nutcracker story, the Nutcracker ideals have. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to pay off with big dividends down the road, at least as far as the box office wise. And what you've always said could come into play here is that regardless or not, if the movie makes money at the box office, with Disney, it's sure to make money and translate into a profit with continuous use and continuous rentals and buys when it comes to the DVD and Blu-ray. But you can't always count on that. That's not a good habit to get into, and especially when you start off with 3 films like Christopher Robin, Wrinkle in Time, and now Nutcracker and the Four Realms, which most likely by the end of this year will be 3 movies that will not end up being successful, at least as far as the movie box office is concerned. My friend, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, I agree, man. It seems like they really just wanted a movie to fill that holiday spot because I don't think Disney's really putting anything out in that you know, that span of time. And it looks fascinating to me, but it's not fascinating enough for me to want to go out and watch it because I don't know why. You know, it doesn't have that appeal that makes me want to watch it in theaters. It's something, yeah, I'll definitely check it out on like VOD or whatever, but it's not something that's really like pulling me into it, you know?
Something that may or may not pull you in so many years after the original. We caught word this week that Ridley Scott has got in development right now a sequel to the Best Picture, I believe, for 2001, and that is Gladiator. If you are like me that absolutely loves the original Gladiator movie, knowing now that it's going to go ahead and focus in on the son of the character that was played by Russell Crowe, your thoughts on a new Gladiator in development, and you're dealing with the story. It would now focus on Lucius, which, like I said, was the son of what was his name? Oh, the son of Maximus, and that, you know, I want to hear your thoughts. Is the world ready for a Gladiator 2? And is it too late? Is there too much of a time span between years? Should it have come out sooner? Your thoughts on a Gladiator 2? Is it really necessary to be coming to a big screen?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this a lot today. And I know Ridley Scott, especially when it comes to you know, history pieces or time era pieces. He never puts anything out unless there's a reason to. Like, he's not making this movie because he needs money. He's making it because he wants to. And so that has to mean, to me at least, that there's a good story that he wants to tell, you know? And it has obviously, like, what made Gladiator such a great movie was that Maximus, Russell Crowe's character, had a lot to lose. You know, it wasn't just his life that was on the line. It was like he was going through things. You know, there's a whole like journey taking place for him, and he wanted. Yeah, he didn't care if he lived or died, but there was still a lot to lose for him because there's still a lot of people that cared about him. So with this one, you know, I got to go back and watch because I don't remember much about the kid, and I got to research him a little bit to find out where his you know, where his story takes place in history. But there has to be something epic to draw audiences in, because if this is a movie just about Roman politics, I don't think it's going to do so well. But if this is a movie that has combat, you know, and the character has something on the line and there's a journey to be had, there's some kind of philosophical or theological theme going on in the background, like in Gladiator, then yeah, I could see it doing really well. But again, you know, my you know, at the end of the day, what I don't want to see is just this movie serving like a political theme, or it just takes place as like a bunch of politicians screaming at each other. What Ridley Scott does timepieces really well, but only because they have a lot of action in them. Exodus, Gladiator, Kingdom of Heaven, like all of these characters were on these deep philosophical journeys, and there's also a lot of you know, fighting and grittiness in the background. So if they have that lined up for this movie, then yeah, I definitely see it doing so well. And it also has the you know, the added bonus of being associated with gladiators. So it's all about that story, man. It really is. Like, I got to do some research and see where this kid's life takes place in history and what he goes through. But yeah, I think the world is ready for another gladiator. We're just ready for another historical piece, another sword and sandals flick, because we haven't had those in a long time. Where are you standing on it, though?
Well, normally it is all about the story, but I'm going to disagree with you on at least a little bit of it, because the fact that the original Gladiator, one of the strengths was the tremendous supporting cast, especially the outstanding performance by Joaquin Phoenix in the film as Commodus. Just truly amazing in that film, how he just basically just oozes the charisma out of every single scene that he's in, and just matches Russell Crowe's performance step by step. Then you had Dimon Honsu. You know, his character was outstanding. Is he going to be able to be in this film per se? I have a feeling he's going to be involved somehow with it, because he's making great films today. In fact, he's going to be in Captain Marvel coming up. So I think he has to be involved. Lucius's mother has to be involved because she survived. But the two main characters, Russell Crowe and especially for me, Joaquin Phoenix, who really did such an outstanding job in that film and made the film, to me, everything about what was going on in it, just it's hard to recreate that, in my opinion. So I'm kind of leery, because I have such a great love for Gladiator. It's one of my one of my top films that I've loved over the years. I will have to wait and see, my friend. But it just, to me, you have to have a strong cast. To me, it was yes, the action was gritty, action was gory, exemplified that era of the world as a way it was seen. Really, just a great look at the sword and sandals, like you were talking, era that it was. The gladiators, as far as within the arena, cheering to the crowd. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? And all that stuff. But to me, it was also about the supporting cast in this film, that what made it so strong, and what the performances were so good. And I believe that's the reason why Even more so than the story, the look, the feel, the grittiness, it was the cast that really propelled this movie to its success and ultimately its critical success and the award as Best Picture as well.
Yeah, the cast definitely had a lot going for it, and the fact that like you hated Joaquin Phoenix so much, but you still liked him at the same time. Like you loved the way that he commanded the role, kind of like
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This vexes me. I'm vexed.
like when he kills his father, he does the whole like part, and you hate him so much, but at the same time, you could not imagine anybody else playing that role, and that's what he did so well in that. It's kind of like it reminded me of uh Tom Hardy's Bane, like you hated him so much, but you could not see like he owned the role so much that you could not see anybody else playing it. So yeah, I see your point there.
I mean,
Uh,
you're going to have to create another Commodus, and how can you do that? Because, I mean, that's what you're talking about for Lucius, the character that's coming up, the son that's now grown up to be a man. You're going to have to give him the same type of antagonist as you did, or at least at that level, as you did in Gladiator. Otherwise, it will not come off as well because it just to me, Gladiator works so well because of that dynamic of not only the supporting cast, but the dynamic between Joaquin Phoenix's character Commodus and Maximus in Russell Crowe and Maximus.
right, and it's not like ancient Rome has any shortage of people that you can call a-holes or anything, but yeah, it's not just about finding a good bad guy, it's about finding somebody who can play that bad guy, someone who has enough with Gladiator, obviously you want to cast people into these roles that could hold their own in a film that might get considered for an award. You don't want to just cast any random person, any random hated bad guy. You want to cast somebody who can be considered for an award, someone who can hold that type of pressure on their shoulders, because no one goes into a Ridley Scott film thinking, oh, it's going to be kind of underground flick. We don't know who's going to watch this. It's not going to be a big deal. Anytime you're cast by Ridley Scott, everything's a big deal. Even in the Alien franchises, you're going to be critiqued on everything just because he is such a big filmmaker. So, uh, yeah, definitely curious about what's going on with this flick. But yeah, there's a lot on the line for anyone playing any of these roles.
What are your thoughts out there, everyone, when it comes to Gladiator 2, and for that matter, Bohemian Rhapsody and Nutcracker and the Four Realms? Want to hear your thoughts as far as at least the two that are on screen this weekend, and also, do we need another Gladiator? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Also, as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Let everyone know before we head to the break, you got to check us out on Saturday. Josh, myself, the guys from Retro City Games, we're going to be streaming. Also, as well, Jamie Monroy from Game Source, Jay Bartlett from A Galaxy Far, Far Away. So many great names that are all part of the Pop Culture Cosmos. We're all going to be streaming for Extra Life, whether it's for the Retro City Games, Retro City Games Pop Culture Cosmos team, or for Game Source, or for Galaxy Far, Far Away. We're going to all be doing extra live streams. I'm going to be trying to share as much of that information on where you can watch and catch and follow their streams on Saturday. We're going to show everywhere we can this weekend on our social media. I'm going to try and get you the time so when Josh, myself, and so many others are going to be, when they're going to streaming and where you can catch them. And please, this is all for a great cause on Saturday. It's for Extra Life. Our cause is for the St. Rose Dominican Hospitals here in the Las Vegas, Green Valley area here in Las Vegas, Nevada. If you get a chance, any donation is greatly appreciated. Whether you want to do it in advance or do it while we're streaming, that's greatly appreciated. And once again, you can check out the information for the Extra Life accounts for either Jamie's Game Source, Jay Bartlett's at Galaxy Far, Far Away, or our Retro City Games and Pop Culture Cosmos. You can check that out. It's all over the social media. Game Source, Humanica Media, Pop Culture Cosmos, and Retro City Games. Check it out on our Facebook pages. We'll have the links right there for you. After the break, we've got Tyler Baker from the Fantasy Football Patriot Podcast. He's going to give you an update. He's going to give you an update on what went on at the Tuesday NFL trading deadline. Also, a little bit of an update on what's coming up for Week 9 in the NFL. I want to go ahead and give you an update of what's going on there for all you fantasy football owners. And then right after that, Jessica Boggs from theTVRatingsGuide.com. She's going to give us our November TV update as well. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos. This is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back to close out the show. This is once again Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here with my friend, Mr. Josh Peterson. If you need a listing of where we're at, just no problem. You can check it out on our Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source Facebook pages. And now you can check it out as well on our popculturecosmos.com site. That's popculturecosmos.com. Just type that in. All the great articles, all the great reviews, and where we're being played at, because we're being played all around the world 7 days a week. It's just right there for you. Or if you want to download the podcast, all of our great podcast outlets are there as well. Josh, I know you got a great thing going on with Humanica Media, so spill the beans, my friend. What is going on with Humanica Media?
Honestly, man, nothing this week because I've been working on the Pop Culture Cosmos website, so I'll get back on the Humanica Media train next week. But for now, definitely check out www.popculturecosmos.com, and you'll be able to find all of the current everything that we do, and we greatly appreciate it.
We do indeed. Before we head on out, wanted to ask you your thoughts on the anime genre. I know we got some interest this past week on some people that wanted us to talk about it on the show. We truly appreciate their input and thank them so much for wanting to go ahead and listen to our show when we're talking some anime. So I was going back through a lot of the anime series that are out there. Obviously, I told you for me, a lot of it starts and stops with Akira because I just love it so much. But there are a lot of great series out there, Cowboy Bebop and so much more. Your thoughts on some of the great animes people should go out of their way to find, whether it's Attack on Titan or there's just so many. The list is so long. I've got one in mind. Have you got one in mind that you can go ahead and people should check out? And then is there also one now that you think people should get really interested into when it comes to the anime genre?
Okay, so with the exception of the ones we've already talked about, obviously like Dragon Ball Z, Outlaw Star, Cowboy Bebop, Gundam Wing, things like that. What the more recent ones I've seen, I gotta say, like one I definitely recommend that has a super deep philosophical tone to it is Full Metal Alchemist. What I just finished watching Full Metal Panic. They have 3 or 4 seasons out that are pretty good. There's also one of my favorites right now is called Darker Than Black. So the story's way too complicated to even explain, but it's definitely something that I enjoyed. I went into it just looking for something to watch, ended up staying for 2 seasons. So that's something I would definitely recommend to people. It's not too complicated. It's not super simple. It's just something that is, you can sit down and watch it, and it doesn't feel like it drags on. It doesn't feel like it needs to like it moves too fast. It's just this kind of like lets you figure things out at your own pace, and it's pretty good. But what are you thinking about right now?
With me, I went back and took a look at a few episodes of Bleach. I think Bleach is highly underrated when it comes to a quality anime series. It's thought of well, but not often well enough as far as the top 2 or 3 anime series that are out there. I think a lot of it people seem to go to as far as Attack on Titan, like you said, with Full Metal Alchemist. I know Death Note gets a lot of love. We've talked about Attack on Titan, the Naruto series, Dragon Ball Z. For me, what I've seen recently with some of the anime's episodes that I saw, I really think people need to give Bleach a shot, especially if they're interested in the supernatural telling with ghosts, and they're like spirits. They like that type of deal, and super, magical powers, and some type of mystical some type. Really get into that type of the atmosphere, which it can get portrayed so well when it comes to the anime genre. It doesn't always get those supernatural deal. Doesn't always get the proper kind of love when it comes to other genres, but when it comes to anime and Bleach, it really does a great job of transferring that emotion, that type of scare tactic, the type of the not type of scare, the type of different things that you're going to see within a supernatural realm. I think people need to go out of the way to see Bleach, and it's available on Hulu. So if you have Hulu, I mean, all the seasons that are out there, I think there's over 20 some odd, 26 actually, 26 seasons that are out there, 366 episodes. Hey, you can catch one each day for a year and you'd be set, plus all the movies and whatnot. Bleach is definitely, to me, an underrated, very underrated anime series that you got to go out of your way to see, because I think it's really worth it. And still, it's only canceled 5-6 years. It stopped as far as the series is concerned. Ended in 2012, so it's fairly recent. So it still has kind of a fresh look to it. So yes,
right. There's also, isn't there a live action show or movie on Netflix too?
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. Yes. So it just gives you that kind of deal. And there's separate movies separate movies for it and whatnot. So I really think people should give Bleach a try. There's definitely a lot there to choose from. It's not like it's something that was just only 1 or 2 seasons and done. There's over, like I said, 20 seasons, 26 to be exact, and over 366 it's about 366 episodes. So it's something that I think people should go out of their way to see, to really get involved into it. I think for a lot of even anime fans, it might have gone under the radar, but Bleach would be my choice as far as an anime you really need to go out of your way to see. Any extras that you thought? I mean, you are a big Cowboy Bebop fan. I know that. So you've explained it on the show just in brief as far as why you have an affection for Cowboy Bebop. So come on, man, just share that affection even more. Why you think Cowboy Bebop is so good?
I don't know. It just kind of captures, like, we all, when we're kids, we all want to be cowboys, right? We all have the little cap guns and the belts and the hat and maybe a little suction cup bow and arrow or whatever. But I don't know, Cowboy Bebop kind of combines all, like, the great stuff about pretending to be a cowboy and, like, watching those Western flicks as a kid, and space, like the Star Wars. It takes the best of all the greatest parts of our imagination and puts them together. And that's what's so great. And the fact that, you don't have to wait 3 or 4 seasons to see how it ends. It has its episode run, has a feature film, and the great thing about it is that it's timeless. You can keep going back to it over and over again. And once with Cowboy Bebop, there's Outlaw Star, which kind of takes place along the same concept, I guess. Not, I don't want to say universe because it's not in the same universe, but like it's the same concept. You have a space cowboy, you have bounty hunters, you have pirates, like all the stuff that you dreamed of as a kid, or your imagination, all the places your imagination took you growing up. As far as like Disney stuff goes, it takes all of that and hyper visualizes it into something that's crazy coherent and really just has good music and good atmosphere. Same thing with shows like Trigun. Like, it's all that great stuff, and it's just fun to watch, and it lasts, and it's got themes that make you think. It's not just appealing to your this need to see explosions and stuff like that. There's so much more to it, and like these days you don't really get that in anime anymore. You don't get that completeness that you felt while watching these old shows. So like Cowboy Bebop, Outlaw Star, Trigun, like those are definitely my top 3 animes of all time, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone who has time to sit there and watch 21 episodes of a show.
There you go. There you go. You've got Cowboy Bebop, about 21 seasons long, like you said. I'm thinking Bleach, that's about 26. That's a lot of anime viewing. And if somebody is just getting into it, I'd probably lean them in both of those directions. Attack of the Titans, always a good one as well. But there's so many to choose from. don't be ashamed to get into it, to get really involved with it, enjoy it for what it is. Although, like I said, for me, it always starts and stops with Akira as far as what I think the best representation of anime is concerned. But Bleach, Attack of the Titan, Full Metal Alchemist, Cowboy Bebop, they're not too far behind. What are your thoughts on the anime genre and picks that you might have out there? Please let us know. But what did you think of our thoughts? What did you think about what did you think about the series that we came up with as far as anime programs that you should see? Share us your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. It's going to be a busy weekend, my friend. Again, for us, we've got Extra Life to deal with and also a new site that's up and running. Any last thoughts on the way out?
No, man, not today. I'm pretty beat from doing all this other stuff. So, yeah, tune in on Saturday. We'll have some good stuff for you then. But in the meantime, check out www.popculturecosmos.com. It is official.
It is official, and including the top 200 video games. That is the most requested right there from everyone out there that participated in it, that participated with their thoughts on the best video games of all time. Your votes have all been collected together. We put a top 200 list out of it. It's right there, right smack dab on the front page. So check it out, popculturecosmos.com. And check out our site as well. And check out, again, our streams. I'm thinking Mass Effect for me, maybe something else for my stream, but we're going to have those times up there on our social media. So definitely check it out. It's for a great cause in Extra Life. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.